Hi Capricorn, this is Lee at Fresh Astrology, and we are looking at January, but also 2018, a little of both here. Um, January will be the kickoff for the year. We're looking heavily at the first day of January to look at the symbolism there. I have a longer, kind of a different kind of in-depth look at this on my website at www.freshastrology.com. You can go there and get the download, but we'll do just a slightly different focus here because there's a lot to say. Also, kicking off in January, I'm going to be doing my first ever hybrid coaching astrology class. It's going to be 6 weeks, and each week we'll have a 90-minute live phone call where I will be doing some teaching. We will have a little bit of class discussion. You can ask questions, and then I will be taking volunteers for coaching. And what happens in a group coaching event is even if you don't feel like volunteering, although I encourage you to, even if you don't feel like it, if you're just witnessing in that intimate setting, even though it's a phone call, it feels very intimate. When you're in that setting and you're listening to someone else get coached around a topic, may not be yours specifically, but it may be close enough where you can kind of find that even listening to someone else, you're doing a lot of internal work just listening. It's interesting how it works because I've experienced it myself being in other group events like this. It's very powerful even if you're not the one being coached. So it's worthwhile being, even if you're not the one being coached, listening to all the other people is very powerful. It's surprising. So you can go to my website until December 15th and get the discount price after December 15th. It's still a good price, but it will go up. So I'm doing that to see, to get a sense for how many people we're going to have. That's just a good way for me to plan. I can plan what kind of, conference line size we need. So I'm giving the discount so that you sign up early. I get a good sense of our size, and it's easier to plan all the materials and all that stuff. But it's still a good price after the 15th. It's, because you're getting a lot for the price. Everybody will have a private Facebook group afterwards or during, even to compare notes and to help each other with exercises and just to develop support networks. And I will also be giving out some materials and exercises. So come join us. It will be, I think, really fun. I'm excited about it. So Capricorn, what is going on this year? We go into the year with you as kind of the star. You're the rock star of the day. You're the rock star not only this year, but really for the next 2.5 years. You have a lot to say in our world. Capricorns are very important right now. And everyone's chart where they have Capricorn is a very important place for them to put their focus. But in your chart, the focus is you. What are you here to do? How are you communicating? How are people taking the way you communicate? How are you interacting with others? Who are you? Why are you here? There's just a lot of questioning. There's a lot of self-questioning for Capricorns. It's a time of huge personal growth for a Capricorn. You and Aries and Pisces to some degree, you guys are going on the biggest, toughest personal journey, whether you're a Capricorn sun, moon, or rising sign. But certainly for a Capricorn rising, it is very powerful time for you in terms of how you meet the world. How do people take you in? Are you finding that people respond in an odd way to you? Do you feel like people don't get you? Do you feel like people aren't listening to the actual words you're saying? Do you feel like people misinterpret who you are? That's a big part of the Capricorn journey right now. That may not describe all of you, but that it would be very normal for you to have that kind of set of questions. So what does that mean for you this year? It's a power year. It's a time to take personal responsibility for yourself, not for anybody else, for yourself. Take responsibility for your own actions, for your own life, build up your own power. You have so much power being given to you right now. How are you going to use it? Can you handle it? Can you handle the power? It's a good question. I mean, power is not easy to handle. People crumble under power, but you're being given a lot. What are you going to do with it? At the same time, you're being given all this personal power, which can feel overwhelming, sometimes unwanted. But as you're being given it, nonetheless, how do you deal? The other thing that's happening at the same time is Jupiter has gone into Scorpio in your 11th house. So your whole future is being shaped this year by all that what you choose to do with this power, with this Saturn energy in particular that's coming in. You've been dealing with Pluto in your sign for a while. You've been learning how to deal with Pluto energy, maybe not as quickly as you'd like, maybe it hasn't been fun, I don't know, but you've been learning to deal with Pluto for a long time, since 2009. So you've been kind of like, all right, I've got Pluto here, I'm kind of accustomed to this feeling of Pluto. It's kind of a darker, more serious, heavier thing that speaks a lot toward rebirth. So a lot of you by now probably get what it means to have a rebirth in the middle of your life. A lot of you probably just intuitively get it. You've witnessed it in your own life, the kind of phoenixing effect that you've had, maybe over and over and over again. Because remember, the phoenix doesn't just do it once. The phoenix just keeps cycling through it, fiery, flamey death, ashes, rebirth. Fiery, flamey death, ashes, rebirth. That's you. You've been learning how to do this, and you've gotten pretty good at it. Now Saturn's coming in, and it's upping the ante. You've got to up your game. So it's a tall order, but I think Pluto's been training you in a lot of ways. And also Saturn being in your 12th house has been training you for whatever it is you're supposed to do. So what are you supposed to do? That's a long conversation. It may take a lot of therapy, a lot of self-searching, lots of self-help reading, lots of self-help audiobooks, coaching. But it's a time to just keep developing, keep on with the development. Don't let off of it. Because there's some kind of important voice, I would say you have. You have an actual voice with Neptune in the 3rd house. It's like this, almost looks like a receiver, a transmitter. And you have a voice that's meant to be a voice of compassion. But that's hard to do if you're not really in touch with that sense of compassion, that sense of gratitude, sort of a humility. If you're not fully in touch with it, it's hard to have the voice, because it's got to be a clear channel from deep down within you to the point it becomes a voice, either through pen, typing it, blogging it, or your actual voice. How do you develop a clear line so people hear you clearly and hear what you have to say? If people aren't hearing you clearly, there's more work to do on development, and it probably has to do with learning how to drive this powerful engine that is you right now. You've got a lot of power, so some clues here suggest that using how the mirror of the other, and I'll explain a little bit more about what that means, but using the mirror phenomenon in life, where basically, those of us who believe, and I do believe this, that we're kind of, when we enter the world, we've entered a hall. I've got a blanket here, it's cold, we've got snow outside, it's very pretty but cold. Entering life is basically like entering a hall of mirrors, where you're seeing versions of yourself everywhere you look. And how do you learn from that? How do you learn to deal with others in a way that's beneficial to yourself and to others, so that the whole system works? Because if you're really just seeing, like, what if the whole world is you somehow in a weird, wacky, existential way? What if the whole world is just a reflection of you? Why would that be? Well, the idea is to learn from it and to learn how to be at home with yourself, and how not to point a finger at someone else and blame essentially yourself, and to just perpetuate a blame cycle is one thing that we can do in the world of others. When we feel like we're in a world of others and things go wrong or we don't like something, we point a finger outward. Excuse me. I get so dry when I'm doing this. We point the finger outwards and we shoot out all this blame and anger and outrage, and then we wonder why it just gets worse or nothing ever gets done about this. Is what people who are angry about whatever, everybody's angry about, not everybody, but people get angry. They have their soapboxes and their stances and their dug-in positions, and they hurl out all this anger, and something needs to change. Why do people keep doing this? Why don't they understand? And really, what if that person is essentially shouting into a mirror? What if you can imagine, rather than shouting at the television or blogging about politics and about the other party or those people in power, what if you're really blogging at yourself? What if you're really shouting and, in all caps, texting about yourself rather than the other person? How could you loop that message back in so that you could heal the overall system of your life? Heal the whole thing. If that sounds very heady and hard, it is. If it sounds wacky, it is. Why on earth would that be the case? But there's a lot of truth to this mirroring phenomenon that happens in life when people who are, kind of a little more open, or sometimes not open at all, but just hits them in the face and then suddenly their eyes are open. That often when you're talking to someone else, you start to get the sense that it's really, there's some kind of internal lesson you're supposed to be getting, not so much them or about the relationship, but it's very internal. And a lot of us, you live enough years, you really begin to feel this if your mind is just even a crack open. This is the journey of the Capricorn right now. And if you don't understand this or get this a little bit, you're not going to be helped by any prediction astrology is going to give. I could be focusing on that moon in the 7th house. This old song, Aquarius, when the moon is in the 7th house, and Jupiter aligns with Mars. All that stuff could be happening in your love life, and it's not going to help you a bit in your love life if you don't get what's happening to you, because so much is about Capricorn right now and the power you wield. And it's the interaction of you and the way you mirror in others out there in your partnership arena. These could be business partners, friends, frenemies, and love interests, and this includes exes. How you mirror back and forth, what you think is going on with them, what you think happened. It's really a lot to say with what's going on inside you and what you did. And it is very heady, and it's hard, to accept responsibility for what you're thinking other people are doing. But Saturn in your sign is telling you that's exactly what it is you need to be doing. If you want some guidance with this so it doesn't feel so alone and terrifying to have Pluto and Saturn in your sign. And a lot of Capricorns are doing very well, so it's not like Capricorns are all flattened on the highway. A lot of Capricorns have risen to positions of great power and have a lot going for them, but internally it can be a bit of an internal winter, in the sense that it can feel very lonely and like you're doing it all by yourself. So if you would like some relief for that feeling, so you don't have to feel all alone and you don't have to feel like it's all up to you, and you don't have to feel like you're living through something that feels cold and barren. Even though there's a lot of good in your life, there is still this little kernel of feeling alone with this. If you would like company, join our group in January. We are going to do a hybrid of astrology and group coaching, and we're going to learn some tools, some handy dandy tricks that once you learn them, you can't unlearn them. You can only practice them more. And join us, become a part of a group that will help you find ways to master all that you've been given, and so that you don't feel alone. It's a 6-week program. Each week we'll have 90 minutes of class time, talking, questions, and coaching. You will also have a private Facebook group. I can't say that quickly. And you'll be able to talk and share with others, and I will be dispensing exercises and suggestions through that private group so that you have more to work on. And won't be in the group every day, but I'll touch base probably once a week to say hello, answer questions, and maybe suggest further reading or exercises. You can also work with me one-on-one for deeper work, which I'm happy to do and I love to do. If you want a reading, we can do that. I've kind of told you just now what's going on for you, but if you want more timing issues, well, that's what we work on in a reading. So Capricorn, you are the it girl and the it guy. You are the rock star right now. What are you going to do with that? All right, take care.